Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of the Recruits on HabsCast. I'm your host, Liam McGuire, and I've got Grant McCagg with me, as you know, as per usual, the man, the brains behind the operation of HabsCast. We're just so looking forward to the season and bringing everything to you, Montreal Canadiens and NHL, as we see fit when the stories break. But right now, Grant, first of all, welcome, buddy. How's she going? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing okay. You're at the golf course there today?
I am. I'm actually sitting in our bar, our pub here at Rideau View. So I'm
Okay.
kind of naughtily attired. You can't see my shirt. I wish you could. I just stand up. Look at this thing.
Oh, nice.
It's a beauty. I'll get lots of comments later. But this is the Fallen Oak, which is the pub at Rideau View, where the bar and certain tables in here and whatnot were made from the old oak tree that was the signature image, if you will, of Rideau View. Still is a
Okay.
signature image of Rideau View, and on our on paraphernalia and merchandise and things of that nature. So it's called the Fallen Oak. I'm sitting in here because it's not formally open yet. And Taylor Coleman, our food and beverage manager, said, "Go ahead and hear, Liam." So
Oh,
I'm quite at
nice.
home in a bar, as you know, Grant.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you finding the time before your big golf date there, Lee.
Absolutely, pal. And listen, we don't have a ton of time, but it's important, I think, as do you. You're really driving this, that we maintain some sort of a published schedule, if you will, of our work, of us sharing some items of interest. And I don't know where you want to start. There's been some great stuff even in the last 24, 48, 72 hours that have come out publicly about Joshua Roy and even Lane Hutson. So why don't you pick which one you'd like to start?
Okay. Well, I found it quite interesting. Joshua Waugh, there was a nice report that came out a couple days ago, and they had this trainer on that I believe trained Georges St. Pierre, so he knows his stuff. And he said he's had few clients that have had the improvement that he's seen in one person, one client in a summer. From the start of the summer, he could hardly do a chin up to now. He said he's been in every day. He's worked hard. He hasn't complained once. And I think he lost 15 pounds. That's great stuff because
15.
Joshua Waugh in his draft year, it's why he dropped to the fourth round was he was fat. He had never seen a gym. He's from a small town, I don't think that had a gym or something, and he had to be introduced to it. He came back, was maybe the best player in the queue and one of the best players in Team Canada.
Yeah.
And because he got in shape that year and had two very good years, looked like he was going to be on the Habs last year. And I don't know if he read the too many press clippings and maybe took it a little easy last summer, but he wasn't in the best shape last summer and he wasn't great in training camp. Lost a spot to Kapanen and Heineman. And I think he got the message that he needed to get back and work hard because it's not easy. You can have all the talent in the world, and if you don't work at it, you're not going to have a spot.
No question. I mean, for most of us, Grant, not guys like yourself who really watch the juniors and assemble lists and things of that nature. I'm on the other side of the coin. What I do is my interest and my level of what I need to do to follow the game really starts once these guys get in the NHL. And look, Joshua Roy has had 30, 35 games over a couple of stints with the Habs, and he has scored a few goals, and he's shown an ability to be able to shoot the puck, get into zones, get into areas, and do things. However, you're bang on. You don't have to be the greatest scout in the history of the world or the greatest analyst in the history of the world to see where he had certain shortcomings and lackings in terms of conditioning, being able to hit holes, being able to get open like he was when he really came to light for us in the World Juniors. Playing with Bedard, I mean, that was outstanding duo, right, amongst many other players on that team. So it's just fantastic news, I think. I'm curious when you say he's lost 15 pounds. I mean, he was listed last year at 192. So is he down in the high 170s or did he get up over 200 and down? I don't know. But
Right.
what you're saying, for a Hab fan right now is fantastic because, Armia and Dvorak go out and Canadiens are shuffling the chairs there in that bottom six. And there's room if you come in and have a good camp, but you bring in a Bolduc and you do things with guys that are already proven NHLers that are going to take a spot. There's others. Dach coming back. We'll talk about that in a minute too. But anyways, I'll finish by saying great news, extremely encouraging. We're going to know in a couple of weeks how he really looks. We're going to see. And let's just see, because the guy has shown, at least in junior, at the highest level, that he can play. But we also know, Grant, going back decades, that doesn't always translate into an NHL career. So kudos to him. This is fantastic news to hear, and let's see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he went from last year being a favorite to be in the lineup to start the year to nobody penciling him in this year, and they probably lit a fire under him and said, okay, I have to earn it. And he's put in the work, and healthy competition is great. And the more guys that are options to make the squad, the better. Start of the year.
And on top of that too, he got hurt. He got hurt last year.
True.
He played less than 50 games, right, Grant? And he came back in the playoffs. He had 10 points in 13 games. Laval went deepest they've gone probably since Carey Price. I mean, they had a hell of a year and a pretty good playoff run. And he was a part of it. Like, the guy can snipe. There's no doubt about it. I think he's got a pro shot, NHL shot, and I'm looking forward to seeing him. As you're saying, the reports. I'm looking forward to seeing it because I love the kid and what I've seen so far. And where he was drafted. You kidding me? Like, that's an afterthought. Like, you're hoping you're going to get a diamond in the rough, 150th overall, but there's only 2 or 3 other guys that entire round that he was picked in that have even had a sniff of NHL action, which means nothing so far. They're only a few years in, but it was a good draft class, and now Bolduc was in that same class. So there's we'll see. That should be impetus for Joshua as well. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah. I guess it was 5th round, eh? Yeah.
I think 5th round, 150th, if I'm not mistaken. And he's got 35 games in the NHL over a couple of stints, 12 games last year, 2 goals, like you said. Got to know when you're coming up, though. You're not playing first unit power play. Like, if you can't score, you've got to generate chances. You've got to, whatever ice time you're going to get, and you're pretty much guaranteed you're going to get minimum 11, 12 minutes. They're going to give you a chance, but you're not going to get probably ozone starts, not with any frequency probably. There's all sorts of things. So you've got to do other things to work your way up to make sure you can stay. And then, of course, if you do get some chances, you got to bury it. And his conditioning, I think, was an issue. You've already stated that. I mean, that was obvious. So this is just fantastic news across the table. And let's see how he turns and burns here in camp. I hope for the best, because that's great for the Habs. Absolutely. Where are we going next? Lane?
Yeah, I guess. I did an interview with Rob Hudson that I released yesterday that I guess went a little viral. And there was one clip in particular that sort of stood out. Do you mind me playing it there?
No.
So people can have a look. There'll be some people that didn't see this yet, I guess.
Let's have a look at it, Grant.
Okay, sounds good. Was the thinking that they can only have one 5'10" defenseman, and Quinn's older and he's kind of earned it. But boy, I not to have invited him to the orientation camp, and at least even for the future, like, he was a top 10 in Norris Trophy voting. Not that matters that much, but top 10 in Norris Trophy voting, and you're not one of 16 American defensemen invited to the camp. It just it was a little bit baffling for me, but I know you're being conciliatory about it, and hey, you're gonna have instances where other sons are probably going to play international hockey too, so I get it. But just from a Canadian perspective, like a Habs fan perspective, there's a lot of people that are a little baffled by it.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, and you never know what happens in the future. Like, my boys are also Canadian, so there is an absolute luxury there, and a lot of great players have been left off the selection for Olympics and things like that. And, I think Brett Hall might have been one of them. I think, he voted with his feet. He went from Canada to the US. Like there's all types of scenarios that are I wouldn't say in play, but are possibilities, right? And
So Lane could possibly play for Canada someday.
he could.
Yeah. Well, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I would not object to that.
And neither would all my relatives that are Canadian.
Oh, I bet.
It was hard enough for them to cheer for the U.S. when the boys are playing, but it would be really super easy if they were fortunate enough to play for Canada.
Wow.
What a nice clip to get in the first week.
Oh my God almighty. What a way for the recruits to start on HabsCast with Grant getting Lane Hutson's father to say, hey, hold on a second here. You know what? The Americans don't want him. His mom's Canadian, right? That's the connection, right?
No, he is.
Oh, he's Canadian?
Rob is Canadian, yeah.
Rob's
from Manitoba
Canadian.
And then Edmonton. Yeah, he's a Canadian boy. So, hey.
Well, he's bang on, right? We all know about Brett Hall, born in Belleville and Canadian roots through and through, played junior A out west before he went down to NCAA and everything else, ironically starting his NHL career with a Canadian team also. So, and then went on to play for Team USA. So there's been others that have switched sides over the years. A few pretty notable names too that have left European or East Bloc teams to play for Canada or the States and things of that nature. So I'll tell you what, I don't know, man. I mean, could it happen? I guess. If you're going to continue, we already discussed this last week, but I mean, it's a joke that he wasn't selected to come to orientation, at least to skate with the guys at his age, what he did this season. It's mystifying, really. It truly is. And having said that, wouldn't that be something? We're going to see here what Lane's got in year 2. But boy, oh boy, Grant, that was quite a scoop for you to get, my friend, that little tidbit.
Makar and Hutson on the Canadian blue line together. Imagine double shake and bake.
Oh, my God. Well, you know what? Hey, 100% legit. It's happened before. They had Brett Hall, who scored the winner for the Americans in the World Cup. High stick, albeit. Steve Yzerman's goal was offside in game 1, so we can't cry about it. Plus, we had no Mario Lemieux, Patrick Waugh, Ray Bourque, Al McInnes, and Paul Correa. Yet they beat us 2 games to 1 fair and square. But Brett Hall scored the winner in the World Cup in '96. And for American hockey, that's their second greatest victory ever, next to Miracle in 1980. Yep. So that goal was scored by a Canadian. So there you go. So we'll see what happens here down the road with Lane. That was amazing, Grant. Absolutely amazing to listen to and watch. Good for you, buddy.
Yeah, you can see that on our Recruits HabsCast channel, our YouTube channel.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, there are people saying that because he's already played for the U.S. in IIHF Junior that he can't play. And I don't know all the ins and outs, but I'm presuming that
was the rule, actually, once you suited up. Now, I don't know if Junior disqualified you then from junior age to playing in men's events. I'm not sure about that, but that was the rule if you did play for a country. However, that wasn't the case back in the day, right? Tony Esposito, Brian Trottier, Peter Stastny, Peter Nedved, go down the line. These guys all played elsewhere, ended up playing for other national teams. So,
yeah. Well, we'll see. Maybe we'll see someday. if he ends up wearing a Maple Leaf jersey, then obviously, he can.
I can't even get my head around it. Really, to be honest with you, I can't even get my head around it. But you know what? I mean, geez, the old man said it. So, I mean, maybe he's already done a little homework checking and said, oh, no, he could qualify if Team Canada came calling and he decided to go. Maybe that would then nullify him from jumping over to the States later. Who knows? But, my God, what a snub to not bring him to orientation. So, hey, you know what? There's 9, all sorts of the vocal minority out there who think that Lane was a one-shot wonder. So,
Wow.
we'll see what he's got this year, Grant.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'll give you an example. Like Bear Down, I guess, which is a huge Twitter account, obviously, retweeted this or, mentioned something about it. So it's kind of gone viral. But all sorts of, Holy Harry's. Well, here's an example here. Let's see if I can find it. From Lord Tom Fluffytail, which I think is this guy's real name, I would think. Has he tried learning to play defensively? You gotta love those. You gotta love those. How many of those? Like that's one of 100 that we've seen. So
they don't watch.
A 21-year-old rookie defenseman playing 23 minutes a game on his offside on a team that was goal differential of -20, and he was -2.
Yeah.
Playing against other teams' top lines on his offside, and he's bad defensively. Okay.
No, don't forget too. That's Montreal always is up among the leaders with empty net goals allowed, and they count the plus minus. He's always
he was
out
on
there
for about 12.
Yeah. So it's Twitter's a cesspool, and we all know that. And the commentary that comes from Bob and a bunch of numbers and the anonymous accounts and things of that nature, what it really speaks to is just people who don't watch the game. They're haters. They have agendas. The old story: mom's basement waiting for their welfare check. And it's poor commentary because Lane defensively was so impressive last year. His angling, his stick work, his ability to use his body when necessary to apply it. Not Scott Stevens. He'll obviously never be that. But it's to use your body. I mean, Nick Lidstrom wasn't a huge physical presence back there. Yes, he was way bigger than Lane, but he wasn't a guy that smoked you out of your skates. It's all about angling, separating the man from the puck, and being able to effectively do something with the puck once you retain it back defensively matters almost as much as actually defending the puck carrier or a play that's going to generate offense. There's so many variables that go into it, and clowns like that write stuff like that, you just laugh, right? Because we know what it is, and we're just all hoping, as Montreal fans anyway, we're hoping that Lane picks up where he left off. I'll tell you, I put a lot of stock in those games against Washington. He could have absolutely disappeared. Got to be honest, Laine kind of did, right? It was the end of the run. He had gotten cold and this and that, a little bit hurt, and he kind of just faded away. Now, all the reports, like you were saying earlier about Joshua Roy, that Laine looks good. He looks like he's ready to go. The video snippets that we're seeing. So this all bodes well. But for Lane coming in, we're all anticipating, expecting, hoping that he picks up right where he left off. Because I thought in those games against Washington, he barely missed a beat. And that was really, really encouraging to see, because we all know, Wayne Gretzky said it years ago, 4 parts to every year: preseason, regular season, playoffs, and Stanley Cup final. So Lane got 2 of those accomplished last year, as did the rest of the team. And I'm just so encouraged and full of anticipation for the puck to drop for this season.
Yeah, for sure. 3 of them, I guess. Preseason, regular season.
Yes, excuse me. Yes, absolutely. Preseason as well. You're right. So he's in 3 out of the 4, and God willing, a Stanley Cup final on the horizon in the not too distant future. We'll see, man. This team, they stay healthy and get off to a good start, could have a really, really, really strong start here. With all the other variables, but I know, Grant, before we go, we wanted to also, there's been some video has surfaced of Kirby Dach skating, which is great as well. And we're anticipating, we're not anticipating, we're speculating on where he may end up on a line as Montreal continues, what we all feel anyway, to look for this elusive second line center. Now that Nick Suzuki has clearly demonstrated, as we've known for the last couple of years, to be a bona fide number 1. What are your thoughts? What are you hearing? What are you seeing? What do you think about Kirby Dach?
Yeah, Well, I guess he was skating with Laine and Demidov today, so that was the big news. Clearly, obviously they'd like to have those three, become a line and prosper. You got the pedigree there, right? Three top 5 picks on the same line. They you'd have to go back to, well, 3 top 6 picks, I guess it was Damphus, Muller, and Bellows, right?
Yeah.
And all they did was win a cup playing together. So
won a lot of games and had that fantastic cup win in '93, and I mean Vinny coming off and still NHL history, 3 straight teams, 3 different times he led the team in scoring. Just a remarkable individual accomplishment. Bellows, 40 goal scorer. I mean, that line, Kirk Muller, all world, second to Mario in the draft and everything he did in his career. So really, really solid line for those of us old enough to remember it. And boy, that's kind of fun to think back about that. But yeah, that sure sounds good, Grant.
Yeah. Well, I hope that they try to ease Dach back in the lineup, because last year they stuck him into the second line, and it was clear that he wasn't ready to. He was like minus 21 in his first 24 games. I'm not a huge proponent of plus minus unless it's really stark, and that tells you a story, right? Like, he was worst in the NHL at the time, and he wasn't producing either. I get that Laine and Demidov are huge upgrades on who his line mates were on the second line to start last year, and maybe that's why they're thinking if he does look decent in preseason that they'll stick him in there to start the year. But I almost hope that they sort of ease him back and not put too much pressure on him, and let him maybe start a little lower in the lineup, plug someone else in there at first, maybe Kapanen. I know I keep saying his name, but somebody like that, who's good away from the puck and that can complement the other 2 guys. And as Dach looks better, and if Kapanen can't do the job, you bring Dach in as the season goes along. But we'll see. A lot will depend, obviously, on the preseason. I think Marty, unlike some other coaches that the Canadiens have had in recent times, puts a lot of stock in who's meritocracy, right? Who's playing the best and who deserves a spot will get it.
Yeah, because that line on paper, I mean, it sounds very almost mouth-watering, really, from an offensive point of view, but there's not. I mean, you can see where there's certainly, to date anyway, we don't know anything about Demidov. We had a cup of coffee with him as fans last year. He took us on an absolute roller coaster through the brief time he was with the Habs. I mean, that first game, like, I wasn't in the building, but I can't imagine through the TV screen, you could feel it. It was like the screen was exploding when he scored. It was just unfreaking believable. And, I don't know about them checking their hat, though. The 3 of them, Dach coming off. I love what you just said. And I would be a huge proponent of that, of easing the guy back in. If we're not at a breakthrough with Kirby now, Grant, I mean, I think we probably are. What is he, 24? He's had the injury, obviously, goes back to juniors, right? He got hurt in that 3-tourney game against the Russians. I remember it vividly. He was our captain. He was looking so good out there. And he's never really fully got on track, right? He had a little snippet of we saw a little snippet in Chicago, and then maybe a little flare in Montreal, and then albeit just such a quick one when he got hurt so quickly at the start 2 years ago. And he needs to do it. We need to see it. The organization needs to see it. And I just parachuting him back into that second line, I'd say it's a mistake. And we'll see what emerges out of camp here and how everything looks. Like you said, we're going to get a real good look. And I'm encouraged by the fact he's skating. I haven't heard. Have you heard anything in terms of if you had to attest a percentage overall of what his health is, what his knee is? Yeah. With that, the injured, what would you say? Do you have any idea?
Well, I know like a month ago he was skating, or 6 weeks ago, and we thought, okay, he'll be good for camp, but then he didn't for 2 or 3 weeks, and I think maybe he had another setback.
There seems to have been a few of those.
That went out there, right? That he may actually now miss, they said, the start of camp.
That's right. So people
season,
speculated, hey, he won't be ready for the start of the year, but he's back skating again.
Yeah.
It's up in the air. Well, we got a month, right?
Yeah. Almost literally. Yeah. What is it today? The 6th or something? So whatever, we're taping this, whatever
yeah.
it is.
Last preseason game's the 4th. So basically, a month to find out whether he'll be ready to go to start the year. I hope they don't rush him.
The thing is, Grant, is that we're not playing with the house money we were last year. No one, not one single solitary person expected Montreal to make the playoffs last year. They make it. So now they're up 35 points the last 4 seasons. It's been a steady rise to the top here. They're coming up. And they're really probably expected to do as good or better next year, although it's a tough division. It's a tough league. We all well know. However, I think it's so encouraging that they're not cup contenders. They're not expected to win the division. They're expected to definitely now challenge right out of the gate for a playoff spot. Maybe not have to go on runs of 19-6-2 and stuff like that at the end of the year to finish to charge your way in, have a little bit more consistency and get into a playoff spot. Maybe not comfortably, but whatever, just get in. And then we'll see, because Dach's situation will play itself out long before that. Laine, in terms of what he'll be able to bring, it'll play out long before that. Your Joshua Ross, your Lane Hutsons, who we've talked about today, that's all be signed, sealed, and delivered probably by the start of the regular season. We're going to know. We'll see what our lineup is. You and I will have many occasions to dissect this and see what the boys are doing. But all it is right now, if you're a Hab fan, is 2 thumbs up, baby. This is 2 thumbs up time. It is the most excited I have been as a Montreal fan in the last 24 months, in the last 2 years, going back to probably when we picked up Sheldon Surrey and Kovalev came over, and you had that little bit of run there in the early 2000s between 04 and 08. And even though that was encouraging to watch them, 2014, obviously, Kreider runs Price, we don't know. And then you go back to maybe even the Cup wins, as you said, and those great lines with Danfus and Bellows and Muller and Carbo and all the rest, and Patrick Waugh in his prime and stuff. So they've been few and far between. Are great moments where you're selling winning or you're selling hope. Right now, the Montreal Canadiens are selling both. And I just think it's great.
Yeah, for sure. I 100% agree with that.
What else, pal? Anything else before I
I did say that I did tell people that I would give an update on Hutson's contract negotiations. Just it has been a topic of a lot of people thought and hoped that he would get extended at this point, because there's always that possibility that, hey, maybe he gets a offer sheet next summer, or he's a holdout or whatever because he'll be an RFA. But my source tells me that they got one offer this summer, and they're at this point they're nowhere close to being they're far apart at this point. But we've heard that many times in the past with contract negotiations. Typically the first offer is not what the final offer will be, and maybe sometimes not even that close. And the other side will have a high offer and they'll meet somewhere in between. I don't think there'll be a contract extension this year. You're gonna be next summer. Pretty sure we'll have to wait till then, and they'll get things hashed out. I'm pretty sure.
That's I suspect as well. He's not going anywhere. I think he's going to be a Montreal Canadian for a long time, and I don't doubt your source at all that they are where they are right now, and I'm not too concerned about it. I'm not concerned about it at all. Frankly, go talk to Edmonton fans right now. Talk about waiting for the other skate to drop. That's I think a little bit more significant from Montreal's point of view. Yes, this is a huge dynamo force. What we saw last year, everybody's waiting to see what he can do for an encore. So it'll be great to see, and we'll get him signed up. And and get him in the fold as this team will continue to improve, and then hopefully be able to challenge for a cup. Connor McDavid's situation in Edmonton is much the same, albeit everyone's waiting to see what that number and offer and term and everything else is going to look like when it does come. And I fully expect him to stay an Oiler. However, there are Oiler fans, I'm sure, behind the scenes that are a little apprehensive about until that's signed on the bottom line. So, yeah, we'll wait and see. Hey, Grant, how it plays out for Lane. It falls under the category of, I think it will take care of itself in due course. If there's anything, this Jeff Gorton, Kent Hughes combo, I mean, my goodness, you gotta go back, really. You gotta go back to Serge Savard took over managing the team. I think that did such a masterful job for 11 years. He made almost 90 trades, a lot of transactions. Some good, some bad, most good, he really, I thought, put together a hell of a team. And obviously we had Patrick Waugh. So, it's been a long time, man. And we've had a few good men in the role since, coaching and managing. But this is exceptional what we've seen here in the Hugo run era. And as a Hab fan, I have zero doubt or worry that Lane Hutson is going to be a Montreal Canadian for a long time.
Yeah. Or Jeff Kent, I call him.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
Former Blue Jay. Well, Liam, I know you got to get going. Maybe we'll mention the you're going to be launching your podcast next week, the Montreal Forum. You want to maybe say a bit of words about that in passing?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks, Grant. As I said last week, I think I mentioned it, thrilled to be part of the stable, if you will, for HabsCast. I think you've just assembled an absolutely electrifying, outstanding group of communicators and knowledge and ability to translate that verbally and on camera here as we do with these webcasts. And I'm thrilled to be a part of it with a show that called the Montreal Forum. I think it's an appropriate name for me. I was there 344 times in the Forum over 21 years, including 78 playoff games from May 1st, 1975, which was the night of Guy Lafleur's first ever playoff hat trick, Game 3 against the semifinals, the Buffalo Sabres, until that unbelievable final night and ovation for the Rocket on Monday night, March 11, 1996. I'm also the only man ever to propose at center ice of the Forum when it was open for NHL hockey in 71 years, 3 months, and 17 days. So I think the name fits. The building was a huge part of my life, was a second home for many years. And I can't wait to get going on the show and talking all things Habs. I'll squeeze in some NHL stuff on the back end as well, as it's appropriate and applicable. But this is going to be hardcore Habs, and thrilled to be part of your network, Grant, and jumping on with you when we can, doing the shows and bringing the people to Montreal Forum by Liam McGuire. I promise it'll be passionate, entertaining, informative, and historical. And there's very few, I think. Can't say much. I rarely toot my own horn, but I'll say there's not too many with that combo altogether. And I'll add in that I'll have a couple drinks while I'm doing it the odd time too, because that makes the world go around. Looking forward to it.
Excellent, Liam. Thanks again for hopping on at such a busy time for you right now.
It is, buddy. Thank you for that. And we'll talk about that maybe more another time. But yes, my mom passed away, so taking care of funeral services and things of that nature. But I appreciate all your support in that vein as well, Grant. I know we've been squeezing it in, but I'm going to go hit the ball now with some great lads and have a blast here this afternoon. And we'll be back talking to you real soon, my friend.
Very good, Liam. Thanks again.
Okay, buddy.